me in any of the pictures. I have all my anti-Israel friends. I don't want them to know. Came to 1 event, 2 events, 3 events. And after a year being in our group, he eventually decided to start putting tefillin, start eating kosher, move to Israel, join the army. So within 1 year, we took a person from I reject Israel and I side with all those that are currently oppressing Israel to I'm going to be on the front lines. And the answer to finding the tikkun, the point is not to get someone to join the army. The point is to find someone to really connect with their purpose and reconnect with their people. And again, the only way to do it, to give the answer, is to know the question. And everyone has a different problem, a different issue within them. And if you're engaging with someone, your goal is to seek the truth within them and to provide them more truth.
Well, I'm glad you really explained that beautifully, because on a personal level, that was my journey. Also, why am I a Jew? It started with a question.
Yeah.
Why am I Jew? Why are my friends Jewish? What does it mean when I went to state schools? The majority of my other friends were not Jewish, and yet I always kept being drawn towards my own people, my land, and I didn't know where it was coming from. That was the question, burning question. So I had to come here and find out. Once I came, I was overwhelmed with the availability of wisdom and learning and growth. But now I'm here. I'm thirsty now to get that global. It shouldn't just stay here in Yerushalayim. It says, it has to go out from Yerushalayim. It doesn't say stay here. If it stays here, that's a mistake. Then we're welcoming, like you said at the beginning part, we're welcoming that we're not doing our mission, and therefore we'll turn into anti-Semitism. They'll be angry with us for us not doing our mission. So they're like waiting for us. And I see from the feedback on every time Rav Arush does something, I see the positive feedback, how much they love and they appreciate, because that's us doing our mission. And then people in the world are like, yeah, now we can access something that's truthful and not just all this entertainment and other stuff that sort of distract us also as a world from what we're meant to be doing. Because the world, as much as entertainment is needed on some level, but there also needs to be content that's truthful, and so people can have values and know what their life's about, what purpose they have, their meaning, and how to guide, even politically, how to have policy. The lack of meaning and lack of values is one of the main causes right now of so much dysfunctionality going on, and people are confused.
We're coming from a place, both of us, of Emuna. So it's very clear to us. But for those who don't have Emuna and don't believe in Hashem and the Torah yet, right, they need to be given a little bit more of a factual explanation. And the reality is that throughout Jewish history, no matter when we were divided, disempowered, and sinning against Hashem, going against each other, that is always when the worst chapters of Jewish history started. And whenever the Jews are united, empowered, and fulfilling their purpose, that's when we are able to overcome the greatest of obstacles. So it's very clear that if you want to change the outcome within the equation, you have to put an input that works. And if you keep putting the input that doesn't work, then you're going to get the same result.
But what's pushing you to go out and do it? Because like I said, I'm trying to do it from a studio or here and now, send an act or a speaker, even yourself. I'd love to help assist you, get you more out there. But what is pushing you to want to go out and active? You went to Colombia, of all places, and if we go through your thing, you've been traveling so much over the last, how many years? I mean, your whole life, it seems like it's been one big journey, and it's been a global journey. What is pushing you to be so available on a global level? What is it? Not just the ability to get your message out there. There must be something more inside of you, like with that we can all get a little bit of inspiration from, to be less focused on our own, little daladamas, as they say in Hebrew, our own courtyard.
The reality is that our souls were brought into the vessel that we're here in order to fulfill a purpose. And everyone has their own purpose, and I've been in tune with mine. And I am very lucky to have realized that purpose already at the age of 7, which obviously has grown and evolved with time. But everyone has to find their purpose. And I think
it might not be for everyone to go out as much, obviously.
Everyone has their own way, right? Someone who needs to save the planet with the pollution.
Does it work online?
It works wherever there's darkness, there's light to go and be created. And every Jew has the ability to create light. They all have that spark. And non-Jews also have an ability to create light. We're all a part of one creation.
100%
but the Jews said that we take the responsibility to do this as a collective. And so we're doing it as individuals. You see the Einsteins, the Freuds, the individuals making great inventions. Even Facebook, the guy might not be connected to his Judaism, but he has so much ability to create something that has created global impact.
You'd be surprised when you hear him interviewed by someone intelligent like Lex Friedman or Tim Ferriss. You see they bring out that he's learning the Torah. He sees himself I've talked about it in my class about Maisa Bereshis, and that he's also creator on a certain level. Like God made us in the image of God made us in the image of God, and man is in the image of God. So therefore, we're also creators on a certain level. So he sees everything he's doing as just part of God's creation. He does have that foundation, and he talks about it publicly on recent interviews. It's not like he's hiding his Jewishness.
No, for sure.
So
he was also in API, the Jewish fraternity that I was a part of.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But the point is that we're doing it as individuals. We're not doing it as a collective. Right? And we need to unite all these different pieces and do it as one collective. Now, for me, I ask more the question, like, how are other people not doing this? Because I know that if I don't do this, then the future of the Jewish people is at risk. The future of my children that one day B'ezrat Hashem will bring to this world that will be healthy and strong and able to continue spreading light, they'll have a worse life. So it becomes a responsibility. When you see someone crossing the street, that they have their headphones on their ears and they're not paying attention to traffic, and there's a truck driving by and you can just grab them and pull them back, the fact that you have the ability to do that becomes a responsibility.
Sure.
So I think it's all about having the perspective and ability to see, and once you see, it becomes a responsibility. I see it as not many people have their eyes open, and even fewer keep them open.
Well, so it's also, in a way, waking people up to their responsibility to humanity, to themselves. It's really the key, as I always say. Chabadniks always say, and Rav Arush for sure says, we have to be besimcha, be joyous. But one of the ways to become joyous is by caring about other people. If we're totally consumed of our own day in, day out grind, we're missing the key to happiness, which is to be a giving person. So it's even in a way, it's part of our own fulfillment as well, to be a happy person in this world. So
I'll tell you something else also. I'll share another personal story that I haven't talked about much.
Sure.
After the army, I left to LA for a year. I started school at UCLA and SMC, and then I took a year off to travel Asia, and then I transferred to Colombia. But while I was in Asia, I spent a month in India. And I went to Jaipur, which is the Pink City, and it's a beautiful place with its history. And there was the rickshaw tuk-tuk driver that was taking me around and explaining to me, this is the story of this place and the story. And I really connected with the guy.
Nice.
And I asked him, where do you live? And he told me the name of a place, and I said, what is that? And he said, you ever see the movie Slumdog Millionaire? I live in the slums.
Wow.
And I said, well, can you take me? I want to see what that's like.
Yeah.
And he takes me, and I eat, dinner with his family. I could only eat some canned vegetables because obviously I keep kosher when I'm abroad. And I told them before in order to get some food.
Sure. And
I'm sitting with him, and I say, I realize he's living in a small shack with a tin roof on his head. His kids have 2 left foot shoes. One of them doesn't have a pair of shoes.
Wow.
And he has so little items. And I asked him, can I spend a few days living with you? Ended up staying with him for a good 5-6 days. Sleeping with him, like the whole family, and seeing how they live their lives. And I just couldn't understand why he's so happy. Of course, I only wish him the best, and it's amazing, but this guy's always happy. And I asked him, I was like, I'm going to ask you a question. I don't want you to find it offensive. I'm not trying to take away. I only want to give more, but I want to understand in order to take it for myself too. How are you so happy with the limited things that you have?
Sure.
And he said, most people are looking and chasing for happiness from the things that they still have to obtain, the items that they still want to get.
Sure.
And I get my happiness from the things that I already have.
Wow.
The person that's a billionaire, has all the wealth and material, that loses his vision, would give everything to be able to see again. A woman that becomes paralyzed, unfortunately, would give everything again in order to be able to walk. The person that loses his family, Chas v'Shalom, in a car accident, would give everything back in order. And he said, you know what? I have all those things. So I'm actually the richest person in the world. And I think that's just such a beautiful perspective of not only reaching out for more, but also understanding the blessings that you have. And that's really what I focus on when I put tefillin and I meditate in the morning, is on all the blessings that I have, and also what is my purpose, and for Hashem to give me as much strength.
I'm going to be giving you these books. It's all about that. The wonders of gratitude, and you're welcome to take them.
Of course.
And if you have time to read them, if not, share them out to whoever your friends are. It's English, French, Hebrew. I'll give you a few different languages because I know you speak all 3. Is that correct? You speak Spanish as well?
I understand Spanish.
Because we have, thank God, a very, very pumping Spanish department here as well, which one day would be nice to see if maybe we want to try other languages and connect to Rav Arush through that way and what he's doing here. One of the big points of Rav Arush that I see, and I see that a responsibility myself, and I see that it's happening, you're living this as well in your way, is there's this contradiction. You mentioned about, the happiness and being samech b'helko, that's in the Hebrew way of explaining it, of being happy with your lot. But there's also that contradiction again, that as much as you're happy with what you have and what, that is that key to happiness, but that doesn't take away from a tremendous rotzen, a will to get your mission done. It doesn't. That contradiction doesn't weaken one. Neither weaken the other. The happiness is